I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
This is where the fun begins.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jedi Knights, the official Star Wars podcast of JoyClicks. This is episode 74. I'm your host today, Christian Buckley. The Buryaga to my Chewbacca is joining me as always. Mike Connors, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's a great day. I am wearing shorts for the first time in 2021 because it's like 65 degrees outside. I don't know if it's like that where you are, Christian, but
Yeah,
feeling great.
it feels nice. I've definitely had shorts with like long socks on in the house before, but today I have shorts on with the ankle socks and the windows wide open. It's a good day, New England.
It is a great day in New England. Sunny, and I'm just happy that we can also talk about Star Wars on this great day.
Yeah, because like it feels like Star Wars got put in carbonite for a bit, in those winter months this year, but spring has sprung. It feels good. This is like last year when we were getting hyped up for May the 4th really last year, and building up for the finale of Clone Wars. So like we're building up towards some stuff right now. It feels good. There's a new rebirth in the Earth.
Yes, we're days and days closer to the Bad Batch. Every day that passes by, the closer we get to that show. So I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
Also, I was thinking this is like not quite a year, but like pretty close to a year anniversary of us just doing this podcast over Zoom or Discord rather.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I just wanted to commemorate that.
Yeah, because I think we've had this question a couple times between us. I think officially now we have done more episodes via satellite than we have in person.
Yes.
Which
via
is wild.
HoloNet. Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so strange because like when I think about this show now, I never think of the days of the studio. Because like you remember, like you, me, and Pat were there like week in and week out for 4 months, and then it was you and me in the spring for like a couple weeks, and now we got a year of this. That's wild.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, but you know what? It's still fun to be able to do this every week, Christian.
Oh, of course. Gotta love technology.
Yeah.
But we're going to kick off the show the way we normally do with our segment from the Jedi Archives, where we each pull an article from the sacred text of Wikipedia and educate each other and the audience on something we may have never heard about. So, Mike, we did something fun this week. We're doing random pages, so hit me with what the odds, the dice roll of Watto's Dice gave you today. What's up?
Yeah, usually you and I just pick one that we think of in our heads, but today we hit the random page button on Wikipedia, and what I got was a Crash of Fate. Do you know what a Crash of Fate is?
I have never heard of that.
So it was a canon young adult novel written by Zoraida Cordova. Zoraida Cordova. So it was part of the Galaxy's Edge media project, published on August 6th by Disney Lucasfilm. It is basically about Batuu and some kids who are on Batuu. Yeah, it's a book. Interesting.
So, is this like, was that author like an in-universe author, or is that an actual author? Because Cordova, like Cordova from Fallen Order.
No, that is her real Earth name.
Wow. Okay. Coincidence.
Yeah. There's an accent over the O in Cordova, the first O in Cordova. So, yeah, it's probably from, so interesting stuff.
Yeah, pretty cool. I'll try and find the book when I.
I guess I guess it's not about kids. It's about adults, but these people were friends as kids. All right, whatever.
Gotcha.
But interesting stuff.
Okay, well, today my odds, I was trying to find a 3PO or a Han thing to go there, but it did not work out. I got Choel, QO''EL. Coel, maybe?
Okay. I have no idea.
Coel was a human female and daughter of Odar who lived on the planet Ord Mantell during the Cold War. What?
Wow.
What is the Cold War in Star Wars?
I have no idea. Is this like Legends or is this canon?
So I'm looking at the image they have for Coel, and she looks like the Old Republic MMO character model. and I'm pretty sure that's what she's from. But I'm gonna go on a little tangent here and click on the Cold War.
Yeah, I'm interested in the Star Wars Cold War.
So the Cold War says Galactic
Communism is
Republic.
creeping throughout the galaxy. Yes.
Basically. It says it was between the Galactic Republic and the Sith Empire.
Mm.
The Cold War was an intense 11-year standoff between the Sith Empire and the Galactic Republic after 3653 BBY. Treaty of Coruscant ended the Great Galactic War. There's a lot of context here. There's a lot written out. There's a lot of stuff here about the Cold War.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. That's craziness.
Yeah, this must be a huge arc of the Old Republic MMO, dude. Like, this must be like one of the Trooper campaigns or something.
Yeah, that's crazy. There are a lot of different Sith that are listed as well.
Yeah.
Sith that I've never heard of. Interesting.
Wow. Well, what do you know?
What do you know? We should do that more often, picking a random page, because it sort of breaks us out of our barriers that we're usually in, Christian.
Oh, for sure. I think that's fun. We can do that again for sure.
Yeah. Well, good picks all around.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we dive on into news? This week, we'll kick off with some book news, because last week we had the very strange double cancellation of the Mandalorian books as one of the major news points of the week. This week we have some.
Talk about that?
What was that?
Yeah.
Sorry, you cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying. I was saying, like, didn't we talk about that last week? The two Mandalorian books being canceled.
Yes, we did. So this week we have some more book news that's a bit more exciting, because Star Wars Visions, the anime series that is being done from a bunch of different studios, is getting a spin-off original novel written by Emma Mieko Candon, which is coming out October 12th. So, initial thoughts, Mike, on doing a Visions novel?
I'm kind of interested in it. I'm sort of thinking, do you think this book is going to continue maybe some of the stories that we see in the Visions TV show? Because as I understand it, the TV show is going to be like anime takes on things that happen in Star Wars. My question is it confirmed that the Star Wars events that the TV show is going to depict are like things that we've already seen, or is it going to be like new stuff? Like, that's basically what I'm thinking.
So, as far as I know, the label of Visions is able to pull from, quoting Kathleen Kennedy, the over 10,000 years of Star Wars timeline history.
Mm.
So, maybe it's stuff that was in Legends. Maybe maybe we cover the Cold War in Star Wars Visions, right? We could, because it's anything from that history. But I think it's interesting because they specify that it's not going to be an adaptation of anything from Visions. It is an original novel, which I guess is going after the same thing, which is strange because Visions seems so heavily reliant on the visual aspect, considering it's anime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like, is this going to be a manga? What you're like? What?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's gonna be, yeah. Well, that's the thing I was thinking of too. So Star Wars Visions is going to just be with a bunch of different anime studios, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it doesn't make much sense for them to like make a Star Wars Visions book. Only if like maybe one of the stories or some of the stories that they tell in this TV presentation, they're going to want to like expand upon in some way. Maybe that could be done in a novel. I don't really see how that's necessary though, because I agree with what you're saying, Christian. The vibe that I was getting from this TV show, at least, was that it was going to be reliant on what it looks like and the sort of like different visual style applied to Star Wars. So it's interesting. I mean, I guess we're just going to have to wait to see more information about it, right? Like,
yeah. What's interesting though is that this novel in the Del Rey tweet was announced through this specific verbiage. Del Rey, the publishing house for Star Wars media, they're responsible for publishing the High Republic books. They announced this, and they said, this year, #Star Wars Visions will bring all new creative takes on Star Wars from the world's best anime creators. So, Star Wars Visions is coming out this year?
I mean, I guess that almost confirms it, right? Like,
Yeah.
if I mean, you said that they're releasing this book in October, or did they announce the release date of this book?
The release date of Star Wars Visions, the book, the novel, is October 12th.
Yeah, so I mean, that would make sense that it would probably like coincide with that, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. So I guess we like sort of got a soft announcement for Star Wars Visions.
Yeah, dude, this is super exciting because I think out of all those shows they announced, this is absolutely the most interesting project, I think, from Star Wars Investor Day, right?
Yeah, definitely the most artistic and creative out of all of them for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
because, like, you assume that given the medium and that these studios have basically their one shot, it sounded like these aren't going to be short little, you know, like 10-minute things. Like, these seem like they could end up being like short films or like
yeah,
30, maybe 40-minute things. Like,
I hope
that's
so.
super exciting. And the idea of jumping around 10,000 years of Star Wars through, listen, I like some anime, so going through that lens, that's going to be super exciting. And I had no idea that I could be excited about that within the next 12 months. I thought this was years away.
Yeah, no, I thought this was years away as well. So that definitely means that they've been working on it for a while. The only thing is like I really hope that we get Star Wars Visions in terms of like, sort of short films. Like I don't want to see like a 10-minute sort of like episode, you know what I mean? I want to see like
Yeah.
a 30-minute, 40-minute like film, like short film with a beginning and an end. And like I expect that from this, and I feel like these anime creators and these anime production studios like wouldn't agree to do this if they didn't like have the creative vision to like tell a story from start to finish. So I'm sort of interested in this. I, like you said, totally thought that this was years away, and now we're probably going to get it just around my birthday, which is great. It feels like a great birthday present, Christian.
I bet. Yeah, this is going to be a super exciting thing, and hopefully can pepper some more Star Wars content throughout this year, more than we expected, right? Because like we have Bad Batch
Yep.
in late spring, we have Book of Boba Fett in December, we got probably one episode of Mandalorian this year, and that's really it. But now we got Star Wars Visions also, so that can just carry us into the Book of Boba Fett season, which is super exciting.
Yeah, that is really exciting. It seems as though Star Wars is trying to do something that Marvel's doing right now, sort of like create continuity on Disney Plus, like something always coming out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm talking about? Like, WandaVision just ended and they started up the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and pretty soon after that, they'll have Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars is, and definitely trying to do that on like a scale as well. So,
Yeah, and obviously Marvel's been like building up to do this sort of thing for so long, but Star Wars
yeah,
seems like it's newer because they just found the success in Mandalorian. But very excited to see more Star Wars Disney Plus content this year.
yeah, for sure. Very, very exciting.
Well, speaking of the Mandalorian being such a huge hit, we do have some more news about new merch.
Of course.
Specifically, an $80 Baby Yoda that has some interesting mechanics involved with it.
Interesting. Tell me about it.
So, this was announced from StarWars.com earlier today as of recording. This October, Hasbro will release Galactic Snackin' Grogu, a new take on the adorable young alien from The Mandalorian, featuring cute sounds, animated motions, and interactive accessories. Living up to his name, Galactic Snackin' Grogu can munch on several
gosh.
included items, including a blue cookie, no doubt force nabbed in the school on Navarro, a bowl of soup with a squid-like creature, and can be fed with a spoon. He'll also react to each, and will let you know what he likes and what belongs in a trash compactor.
That's great copywriting.
That's very good, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cute, I guess. So it's more like a toy, sort of like really geared towards like being a toy.
Yeah, it's like those there was like those babies where you could like give them the little bottle and it like peed itself.
Baby alive, of course.
Yes, the
We know it.
seminal Baby Alive product
Yes.
line.
Yeah, no, this is actually really cool. Do they have photos of it?
They do, yeah. I think you can probably find it pretty
Yeah.
simply.
Oh, do they look like does he look quality quality?
I mean, it's an $80 toy, so he looks
Oh, it's $80. All right.
pretty solid. You know, he's got big eyes, pretty smooth skin. So yeah, it looks like a fun little thing for children or collectors. It also comes with the ball from the top of the shifter in the Razor Crest.
Interesting.
And
That's funny.
I think he'll react to that as well. But yeah, it makes sense that if you make this character who's a child and people swoon over, that you make a little baby doll that like you have to take care of, right? That seems like you can make that connection pretty easily, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And it seems like a really fun toy. Something that maybe I would be interested in if I were a kid
Yeah.
growing up in this era of Star Wars,
Yeah, you could be just like Mando. You can play with your Nerf Mando gun, and then all of a sudden be like looking over at this little toy that's just sitting in the dirt and be like, "Eat your soup," you know.
Oh, I saw the Nerf Mando gun at Target the other day. Those are really cool.
Did you want to buy
I
it?
have to say. Oh, of course, man. But like I don't know, they did a very good job sort of like with like the coloring and stuff and just like making it look like what it is in the show. It's cool.
Pretty cool. Something that might be more up your and I's alley as mid-20-year-olds is
Yes.
some Lego sets, specifically some of these. You know what it is? People who listen to the show, and Mike, you know that like when you see a Lego set in a box and it's got like it's the black box with like a very clean lighting and like very clean logo for what the kit is, it's like, okay, you're aiming this at like this is what the Manhattan Lego set looks like at the Coliseum. It has this type of packaging, right? Like the higher end
for
stuff.
sure. For sure. But I mean like they're definitely marketing towards like adult collectors for these. Which is fine. I actually think the packaging is like really nice. And like I bought the A-Wing for like around Christmas time, and the packaging was also sort of like black like this and had the A-Wing with like really dramatic lighting, and it's nice. Like when you're holding it in your hands, you feel like you have something really like nice. And these new ones that you're about to talk about also look very nice, Christian.
I agree because I own one in this line. So recently Lego revealed a new set of helmet kits, specifically one for Darth Vader and one for the Scout Trooper. And alongside this line, they are also releasing an Imperial probe droid, which looks to be about the same size of these helmet sets, which aren't too big. I did get a Boba Fett one. I haven't built it yet, but I think once it's all built on the stand, it's probably like 6 to 7 inches, maybe.
Interesting.
So.
Yeah, I mean they look really cool. Out of the 3 that you just mentioned, the ones that they just announced, I feel like I'd more inclined to get the probe droid. I feel like that's a really good stand-alone sort of thing to build in this size. It would be a good like desk edition, I feel.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a cool set. I really like the helmet line. I am excited to build that Boba Fett one at some point and then put it on a shelf.
Yeah.
I think it has a cool little like nameplate tag too to just say like Boba Fett, and then it's like the series number for the Lego kit. So again, pretty cool. I think that Boba Fett one, it was a gift, but I think it's like 70-ish. So maybe assume the same for these.
Probably around that price. Lego does not cheap out with their prices.
No. But thankfully, I say they're probably worth the price because they do look very clean, very classy. So.
Oh yeah, and they're of very high quality. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we teased some Disney Plus talk with Visions, but Legends is hitting Disney Plus in a big way on April 2nd, Mike.
Oh, yep.
So I believe this broke, again, big surprise, after we finished recording last week.
Always happens to us.
But on April 2nd, we are getting a slew of returning visual medium Star Wars content, including Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars series that was released back in the day as promo for Revenge of the Sith, the Ewok movies. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, did we watch this Clone Wars rendition?
I think I asked you to watch it because it was on YouTube, but I
Yeah.
I can guarantee you I will watch both of these when they hit Disney Plus.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Once they're on Disney Plus, it's over.
Um, so we have that Clone Wars series, which I'm very fond of. We have the Ewok movies, I think Caravan of Courage, and the other one that I don't know the name of. And very interesting, a broken out piece of the holiday special being Boba Fett's like animated short from the holiday special, which is very interesting.
Gotta love it. That is interesting. So they're not gonna just put the entire holiday special on there.
No, God, why would they?
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not like it's a secret anymore. Like, I know George Lucas doesn't want it out there, but like,
hmm I mean, I'm with you, right? Like, if they're putting out this stuff and like the, I have seen one of the Ewok movies. It's not. I don't think it's good. It's I think there's like a human from Earth that gets brought into that for some reason. Like, it's very weird.
yeah.
I don't think it's good. But what are your thoughts on bringing Legends to Disney Plus?
I think that's cool. I mean, as long as they sort of like delineate that it's Legends and all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure that they will, because they don't want it to be associated with like Disney and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, like I think it's just neat to have all this kind of stuff in one place. And yeah, I think that they should put the full holiday special on
Agreed.
Disney Plus, just because. Why not? You said why would they do that? I'm saying why wouldn't they do that? And I think it's cool that they're putting the Boba Fett holiday special on because Boba Fett is definitely having a renaissance, and they chose to put that on there.
Mhm.
Overall, I think this is great stuff, and we should review some of it.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Because the thing is, I know before we wanted to do, or I wanted to do, like an episode about the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, but like we had a bunch of other required viewing things going on at that time. So
Yeah.
like, I would love to do an episode just about the two of those shorts, or like, I think they're each like 40 minutes maybe, but there's some really cool stuff in there. There's like the Battle of Coruscant on the ground from like when Revenge of the Sith is taking place at the beginning of the movie in space. Like,
Huh.
you get the ground view of that. You get an introduction to Grievous. You learn why he coughs all the time. It's very cool.
Interesting.
So I would love to do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
But yeah, this is cool. I don't know what would be left though. Like, can you think of any other Star Wars content that like wouldn't hit yet?
Like other than the full holiday special, no, I can't really think of anything. Because they've been pretty like lock and key about like who gets to do what with the IP. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like, there was a VHS tape I owned that was a documentary. I don't know who put it out, but I think it was like called like Science to Star Wars. So that'd be cool to get that. But
Okay, all right, yeah. Let's get that on Disney Plus.
hell yeah. They own Fox now, so when they start getting, I think they're bringing like Stars or like some adult content to Disney Plus. So like the Family Guy, Star Wars
Oh,
things.
honestly, they should like put that on underneath like the Star Wars thing on Disney Plus.
Mhm. Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if those hit eventually when they sort of figure out how they're gonna gate, content
Yeah.
for adults. But yeah, I think we pretty much have everything now outside of the holiday special in full. So pretty wild.
Pretty wild. Hey, do you know if they have Spider-Man on Disney Plus? I don't think they do, right?
No, because that is, well, what's Spider-Man? Like the movie?
Like Far From Home and like Homecoming, yeah.
They don't because of Sony, because of that agreement.
That's so annoying.
I know. But they do have the animated Spider-Man from the 90s. I watched, that was the first thing I watched on Disney Plus. That was pretty good. So,
All right, well, that was just an aside.
Yeah.
Never mind.
there were a few other quick hits I wanted to shout out before we get to our main topic this week. First up, Star Wars announced that Dr. Aphra will be a spotlight for the comic covers for Pride Month in June, highlighting a bunch of other LGBT characters in Star Wars. So that is nice to see.
Cool.
Speaking of comics, the bounty hunter Dirge, who I believe was in some Legends. I've heard about Dirge on TikTok. like somebody's talked about Dirge. I forget what media he was from in Legends, but he's a very ruthless bounty hunter that is getting brought into canon. He's been brought into canon at this point through an ongoing bounty hunter comic event.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I think I saw this on Twitter.
mm-hmm. Marjade any day now.
I don't know anything about Dirge, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that we're gonna see a trend with this? Like, do we think that through these, filling the gaps original trilogy comics, we're gonna get more of these Legends characters?
I mean, I just think it's a good opportunity for Disney or Lucasfilm Press to sort of like start to introduce some new characters, like see what works and see what doesn't work. They could always just like introduce a character in a comic book, and if fans aren't like super receptive to it, just like never bring them up again. But if they create like a cool one, or they bring one back that fans like, they could always kind of like roll with it. I don't know if like trend would be the right word, but I think we're definitely going to start to see more of that. It's just a good opportunity for them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you, and I'll also say this: like, I don't understand the ravenous hate of Disney Lucasfilm lately, because like
it's always like that, Christian.
I know, but like with Legends, like Lucas didn't even acknowledge Legends as canon. He was like, I'm okay that it exists, but it's not Star Wars. Star Wars is the stuff I did in Clone Wars, right? Like that it was never canon, so Legends was never decanonized. It was just labeled Legends. Like recently Disney and Lucasfilm have been making the stuff that is in Legends canon, or bringing it into the canon to actually fit and make sense. So like I think that's cool. I think if we're going to keep up that trend, that's good. Legends was never canon, so canonizing it in a way that actually like makes it make sense with stuff. There's no moons that blow up Chewbacca. Like this is good, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I trust them to bring things into the canon that make sense and everything. So as long as they can do it in a way that sort of makes sense to the overall narrative that they're building in their new canon, I'm fine with it. And I actually think it's pretty cool. And in a way, it's sort of like fan pleasing, but who cares?
Revan graphic novel, please. So
let's do it.
Oh, and lastly, for rapid fire, once again, Kevin Feige was interviewed. He said, "No, I'm not working on the Disney Plus Star Wars shows." So
why do people keep asking him?
Like, it's the same people that think Kathleen Kennedy's getting fired every week. Like,
we're gonna look really stupid, Christian, when one day Kevin Feige sort of like comes out, and it comes out that Kevin Feige has been working on Star Wars projects all along, and we've just been saying on this podcast that people are dumb for even asking.
One day we'll see it happen.
One day.
But that's really it for news in the world of Star Wars this week. There's not much else going on at the moment, so we are going to continue our Star Wars March Madness bracket series. Mike, I'll throw it to you. Tee up this week's bracket.
So, to continue the tradition of doing a bracket for every week here in March, I think, what is this, the third week or the fourth week, Christian?
This is the third week.
Right? Yeah, third week of doing these brackets here, and we're going to do something pretty interesting. I think the first week we did Star Wars video games. The second week we did Star Wars villains, correct?
This is the fourth, actually, because we did video games.
This is the fourth week.
A Jedi, and then villains. So now we are on week 4.
So week 4, this is week 4. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. We're doing. We're going to be doing a bracket for the movies. So if you recall from the previous weeks, we did video games, Sith, and villains. What we did this week for our seeding is we looked each of these movies up on Metacritic, and we took the Metacritic score, so the number that they give each movie between 0 and 100, and we ranked them based on that. So we thought that was a pretty fair way to do it, right, Christian?
Yes, because Rotten Tomatoes is usually the barometer for movies, but the way Rotten Tomatoes works is like, out of all the reviews, this percentage were positive. This is like an average of the actual scores given. And we pulled from the critic scores, not like the user scores. So
yeah, we pulled from the critic scores. So I think this is a pretty objective way to do it. Not sort of, because I think the way that this is seated now, and Christian, you can see this, and I'm going to read it off in just a second. This is not how we would have seated this.
Right.
based off of our rankings that we've discussed previously on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So starting off, we have A New Hope with a Metacritic score of 90, The Last Jedi with 84, Empire Strikes Back with a score of 82, The Force Awakens with a score of 80, Revenge of the Sith with a score of 68, Rogue One with a score of 65, Solo with a 62, Return of the Jedi with a score of 58, Attack of the Clones with a score of 54, The Rise of Skywalker with a score of 53, Phantom Menace with a score of 51, and Star Wars The Clone Wars, the animated movie, with a score of 35. So those are the movies that we're going to be working with, and I think we should just like hit it off with round one. What do you think, Christian?
Yeah, absolutely. How wild is it that only like a third of the Star Wars movies are like reviewed well?
I know. I was thinking about like when I was putting this together, I was like kind of confused why Return of the Jedi is ranked so low.
Yeah.
Don't know why it has only a 58 Metacritic score. Anyways,
Very strange. There are 4 that get a bye for the first round, though. Would you like to run through those?
this is true. There are 4 movies that get a bye. So it's going to be A New Hope, The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Empire Strikes Back. So seeds 1 through 4 get a bye.
Very nice.
All right, let's hit it off with the number 8 seed, Return of the Jedi, versus the number 9 seed, Attack of the Clones.
This is the easiest one we're gonna do, Mike.
Yeah, this is the easiest one we're gonna do.
Like, is it wrong to say? Well, I forget where you rank Rise of Skywalker, but is this your favorite against your least favorite right now? What is this? What is this?
No, I would say I don't. Attack of the Clones used to be my least favorite.
Yeah.
After the Rise of Skywalker, no longer.
Mhm.
My favorite Star Wars movie is The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, my mistake.
No, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But Return of the Jedi is definitely up there. And this is just, to me, a no-brainer. Like, I hate to knock Attack of the Clones out of the park, like, or out of the bracket just like so early. But honestly, I'm not sure what it would stack up against other than the Rise of Skywalker in my mind personally. So I think Return of the Jedi would have to win over this. But what do you think?
Yeah, because like Attack of the Clones, when we reviewed it for the show, I was like, when's this getting bad? Because I'm having a great time. But it's way weaker than like Return of the Jedi is.
It's Return of the Jedi.
It's Return of the Jedi. It's like, as much as I love Empire, I think Return of the Jedi hits like the vibe of Star Wars better than like any of the other ones almost. So
totally.
Yeah, I this is an easy win for Return of the Jedi.
Such an easy win for Return of the Jedi. It's crazy though that this is seated so close to one another though. I feel like that is not correct.
Yeah.
Well, that's whack. That's wacky.
The system can't be perfect always.
The system cannot be perfect, yeah. So Return of the Jedi wins that battle. Moving on to the second battle here, we have the number 5 seed, Revenge of the Sith, against the number 12 seed, last on the list, Star Wars The Clone Wars animated movie. This may be an easy one to do, Christian.
Yeah, I might have misspoke.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, it's kind of hard to compare these two because you're sort of like putting an episodic Star Wars film next to like a animated one that is mostly forgotten by everyone. So I don't know. For me, like Revenge of the Sith is S tier Star Wars. So
yeah, I think this would have been a lot more interesting if the Clone Wars went up against Attack of the Clones, maybe. But
sure, yeah.
Like, I think the Clone Wars, the movie's not good, right? Like it's not really good. What it gave us, I will never stop thanking that movie, but that's irrelevant here. And Revenge of the Sith is one of the best Star Wars movies. It's like top 3 for me. So yes, Revenge of the Sith can move on.
Yeah, I mean, like I like the Clone Wars movie. I think it's fun, but it's not Revenge of the Sith level.
Yeah, like there's plenty of movies that I don't think are good that I enjoy. This is one of them. You know, like
for sure. But I think what you were saying about if we put the Clone Wars animated movie in front of Attack of the Clones or put them head to head, it might have been a bit of a different story, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, moving on to the third round in round number 1, we have the number 7 seed, Solo, A Star Wars Story, against the number 10 seed, The Rise of Skywalker. Christian, thoughts?
Mike, once again, I was wrong. This is the easiest one. I should have realized that whatever Rise of Skywalker was against first round, it would lose to. Like that is the easiest one here.
Yeah, man, I have to say I really hate The Rise of Skywalker. This is known. I've made this known on the podcast before. I'm not afraid to say that at all. And to me, really anything is better than that movie. So,
and I mean,
we both love Solo.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to say, like, to Solo's credit, both of us really love that movie.
Yeah.
Like Solo's
make Solo 2 happen.
Make Solo 2 happen. Solo's a great Star Wars movie. It's really fun. And there's really no problems with there's problems with it, but it's not a thing where the whole time I'm just questioning why I'm a fan of this,
Yeah. I mean, The Rise of Skywalker, and to The Rise of Skywalker's credit as well, I mean, it is not without its fun moment. It has fun moments. It's a Star Wars movie, so at the end of the day, you know what? Maybe I wouldn't watch it. That's the thing. But Solo is just so much better. Leaks beyond it.
Yeah, I enjoy watching both of these movies, but I would watch. I've seen Solo I think 3 times. I would watch it way more. The way that I go revisit stuff. Rise of Skywalker, I will watch when I do a full series watch through.
Yeah.
The same way with I'll only watch Attack of the Clones if I want to do that, right? I'd turn on The Phantom Menace one day, maybe. I'd turn on Revenge of the Sith. I'd turn on most of these. This one, Attack of the Clones, maybe Rogue One are movies I'd only watch if I'm doing a full watch through.
Listen, I actually was just thinking about this too, but I have always said that Star Wars, no matter how bad the movie is, it's something that if it's on, I'll watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Attack of the Clones is on, I'll watch it. I would rewatch Attack of the Clones. I would rewatch Revenge of the Sith. I have rewatched all of these movies, but I don't know if I ever, and if I ever will, have the urge to rewatch The Rise of Skywalker. I never have had that urge. Knowing that it's on Disney Plus, I've watched a lot of the other ones, but just never really cared to watch this one.
Yeah, I definitely I think I had that urge this year because I definitely revisited it with Kayla, and
yeah,
I forget what I said in my report back on the show, but in my mind, I was like, wow, the beginning of this movie is really not good, and then the ending, I still felt nothing, but I had a better time, I think that's what I said. So it's still a fun movie to watch, right? There's some cool set pieces in there, there's some cool character moments, but yeah, it's whatever. It's still good, I think. It's still good to watch.
Yeah, let's just say that I'm not really sad that it's eliminated so early.
Yeah, and going against Solo, a dark horse here, easy win.
All right. So looking to the future, it looks like our job's going to get a bit harder, Christian.
Yes.
But let's just do the last matchup here in round number 1. We have the number 6 seed, Rogue One, Star Wars Story, against the number 11 seed, The Phantom Menace. Now, Christian,
I want to hear from you first.
Okay, so these 2 movies I really like, and it's hard because The Phantom Menace has a nostalgia factor that Rogue One doesn't for me, and I feel if we're doing a ranking like this, it's hard to sort of take yourself out of that nostalgia factor. So I'm just trying to lean into it, man, and it's just difficult because the Phantom Menace was crafted and thought of by George Lucas himself, he slaved over the screenplay, he was at the director's seat, he was calling action, he was calling cut, and he made that movie from start to finish. Is it a great movie? No. Does it have its problems? Yeah. Is Jar Jar Binks a really strange character.
I
of
like
course.
Jar Jar.
We all like Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Not actually, that's not true. We don't all like Jar Jar.
We
I
like
like
Jar Jar on the show.
We like Jar Jar on this show, and Ahmed Best deserved more.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there's also like it's just so hard for me because like if I feel like if I pick Rogue One, then I'm like betraying childhood. You know what I mean? But Rogue One, on the other hand, in my mind at least, is a very complete story. I like how all the characters sort of end up. Like, I think the set pieces are awesome. The visuals are really cool. It feels like the original trilogy. It's like one of my favorite things ever. So it's just really difficult for me. Christian, what do you think?
I'll lead with this. I think I definitely have to rewatch Rogue One because I think when I watched it for the show, I might have just been having a bad day. But I just when people say Rogue One's the best Star Wars movie, I'm like, really? Like, really? You
Yeah,
really think that? Like, you can like what you want to like, please, right? Like, I'm the dumb idiot who thinks Empire is the best one, like everybody else. Like, who am I to say? But yeah, Rogue One, I have issues with. I really think that show, especially with the hindsight of Mando, I think Rogue One would have been better as a show. Like,
probably.
I think it would have been so much more impactful, and I would have loved it if it was a show. But
yeah, it would have been so much better as a TV show. Wow.
It doesn't get like enough time to cook on the characters. Like, I feel like we don't get anything from Jyn. We don't really get an arc from her outside of like, yeah, I guess I'll die to save the rebellion. Like, I don't like. She makes that choice, but I never like felt that from her. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always sort of been back and forth on this. Like, I feel like Jyn Erso, out of any of the characters, is like one of the ones that they spend the most time on.
Yeah, and I still
feel
don't.
like,
yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I just like. I know her dad died, and I know she was like, I feel like I have a duty to do this, but like, I don't know. I bought it because it's like she clearly had a motivation to do it, but I never like felt her character for like reasoning, and maybe it's just because she was supposed to be a stoic person, but like Cassian is my favorite part of that movie. Same with K2, the two of them, and I like everything on Scarif, but everything to get to that point I think is a little messy. And in terms of Phantom Menace, like you, I have the nostalgia there. Love how that movie looks. Love the politics in there, the way they do the setup. Is it cheesy? Yeah. Does it not hold up great at times? But like I have more love in my heart for Phantom Menace than Rogue One, even though Rogue One maybe like pound for pound might be a better movie. I just think I like Phantom Menace more.
I think pound for pound, Rogue One is a better movie.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it. But if I think about like which one deep down in my heart I like more, and which one I think is more impactful for like the overall Star Wars lore and universe, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like what does the most for, advancing and building that world? It would have to be the Phantom Menace. So I think in this matchup, we should choose the Phantom Menace. What do you think?
If that is, since you are the fan of Rogue One, if that's your choice, I will co-sign it.
I mean, I really love Rogue One, but I think, in this matchup, it's just hard to deny Phantom Menace.
Yeah, and like, listen, Darth Vader, he's got a cool part at the end of Rogue One, but is it cooler than the entirety of Darth Maul's fight in Duel of the Fates? I don't think so.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So, very nice.
And who doesn't love Qui-Gon Jinn? And the pod racing.
Yeah, dude.
Get out of town.
Sebulba.
Yeah.
Or Sing.
All right, so let's move on to round number 2. Our first matchup. We have the number 1 seed, A New Hope, the OG Star Wars film from 1977, up against the number 8 seed, Return of the Jedi, the third Star Wars movie released in 1989. Or 1983, excuse me. So we have 2 of the original trilogy going up against one another. Mm-hmm. Christian, since I started off the last one, what do you think about this matchup?
First up, again, A New Hope at 90? That's
a bit exaggerated, I think.
That when you look at the rest of these, A New Hope does A New Hope's the #1 seed here. A New Hope should not have the best critical review. That's just strange to me. I don't understand that.
Do you think maybe that's because like it's weighted higher because of the impact that it had? You know what I mean?
Maybe,
Like,
but like I really would have thought Empire would have been the most, and Empire is only at what, like a 82?
right.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
I mean, I think Empire versus the original Star Wars, I think Empire is just like objectively just a better movie.
Yeah, in like every way. Script, the
Yeah.
way it's shot, visuals, like every single way, drama. It's better.
Exactly. I don't think that's a controversial statement at all.
No.
Yeah.
But that aside, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
A New Hope I have nostalgia for, but like we've
Yeah.
done better.
I think you're totally right on this one. I mean, like we love A New Hope on this podcast.
Yeah, obviously.
Like obviously. But that's what I mean. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't do anything. Like there are Star Wars movies that I feel more with, you know, like they're just better Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
and Return to the Jedi is one of them.
agreed. Because to act like A New Hope is untouchable because it's the first one, I never like that line of thinking. Just like, oh, it's the one that started it all, so it has to be treated well. Like, no, it doesn't, because we've been better.
Yeah.
And specifically in this matchup, it's like what I said. A New Hope, it has that adventure movie feel, right? But like, I feel like Return of the Jedi, when I think of Star Wars, like the way it's the color palette of that movie, the greens, the like navies and blacks, and the saber fight there's so much more weight there, the family drama, like that to me is way more Star Wars than what A New Hope is, even though A New Hope created what is Star Wars. But
yeah, I mean, like, let's not get this twisted. Like, you and I both have extreme, like, I think reverence is the right word for A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it deserves the respect that it's given, but when going up against others of its kind, I think it's fair to say that it's just simply not the strongest out of all of them.
Yeah.
And Return of the Jedi, you're totally right, is way more dramatic, is shot like, I don't know. It's just it also has a bigger budget. Like,
yeah.
It's just a better movie, I think.
Agreed. I've seen A New Hope way more, but
same. I mean, we can thank A New Hope for planting the seeds for really all of this. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, moving on, we have the #4 seed, The Force Awakens, against the #5 seed, Revenge of the Sith, and Christian.
Yes.
Boy, oh boy. I mean, The Force Awakens has a Metacritic score of 80, and Revenge of the Sith has a Metacritic score of 68. Now, like, Revenge of the Sith was sort of blasted on by critics when it came out and everything, and still to this day, the prequels are sort of blasted on by movie critics. But we've talked about how much we love Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
And The Force Awakens being put over that, I don't know if I can do that in good conscience, you know what I mean?
Sure, but like at the same time, The Force Awakens I think is a better movie if you're looking at it from that angle. Like Revenge of the Sith I love. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies, but in terms of it being a movie, it's not paced super well. Again, that a lot of the dialogue is pretty wooden. I know that's what we love about it, but The Force Awakens is like a great ride, and it's a really good. It's like people say it's a remake of A New Hope. I think sure it is, and it's a better movie for it. Like it does A New Hope better. It really does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So like I really love The Force Awakens, and I still like going back to that movie, the mystery of it all. I love The Force Awakens. So I think it depends on how we're evaluating this, because I don't think we've had like a set thing. Like for you, when we're going through this, are you taking into account like what aspects? Because I know we've talked about like as a movie, it's pretty good. A lot of it is our love for the specific thing, but like what are you putting your stock into the most when we're talking about these decisions?
Honestly, I'm putting a lot of my stock into the maybe I shouldn't be, but I think I'm putting a lot of the stock into the emotional value of these movies, because like taking this matchup in particular, like I think that The Force Awakens is a better film. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of a compact story. Like, it's more of like a ride. Revenge of the Sith, like you said, has issues with like its pacing, and it's like kind of long and sort of convoluted, and the dialogue isn't very good. But like, to me, I think that I enjoy watching the Revenge of the Sith more than Force Awakens. So I think part of my reasoning behind my choices are just like, what would I enjoy watching more, and like, what do I think, and like also like, what do I think contributes the most to like Star Wars lore and like world building the most. And I think Revenge of the Sith does that more than The Force Awakens.
Yeah, the only thing I'll disagree with what you said is what I enjoy watching more. Like, I love Revenge of the Sith, and every time I watch it, I'm having a blast. It is long, right, and moves kind of slow. I think I've seen The Force Awakens like at least 15 times, probably more than that. I've seen it a lot.
Yeah,
Revenge of the Sith.
There's something special about The Force Awakens too, though. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, man,
it's a great movie. It's a really great movie, and like I will never ever forget like going to see it like 5 times in the movie theater when it came out.
Like, I truly believe The Force Awakens is the most rewatchable Star Wars movie. I think it's the easiest to just put on and watch and have a great time with.
And it also, like, anybody can watch it too.
Yeah, which is really good. And also, like, looks really good. Love the lightsaber duel in it at the end. Really good drama, really great character moments. Good introduction to the new cast. Like, it's...
Yeah, you're selling me on it, Christian.
Listen, I'm not trying to sell anything right now. I'm just trying to talk through this.
No, I mean, like, the thing is like, even with Rogue One and the Phantom Menace, when we did that matchup, I sort of put aside my personal opinion and then sort of thought about like, these two movies and like what they did, like, and I came up with like, the Phantom Menace I thought was a better Star Wars movie. And I think if you're putting The Force Awakens versus Revenge of the Sith, like, yeah, like, I may like it a lot because I have a lot of like nostalgia tied to it and stuff. But if you were to like look at these two movies objectively, The Force Awakens is like much more of like a compact story, and it does a lot more for just like Star Wars in general, starting off a brand new era of Star Wars than Revenge of the Sith really did. So I would be fine with putting The Force Awakens over Revenge of the Sith. That's not to say that I love Revenge of the Sith. I just think The Force Awakens is probably a better Star Wars movie overall.
Yeah, I'm looking at my rankings right now from when we did the show, where we did the review series. I have Revenge of the Sith at 5, and at number 4 I have The Force Awakens. But like, I think here's the thing though, because obviously I have my childhood love of Revenge of the Sith, right? And that era is untouchable in my memory. But I think also Revenge of the Sith for me now has way more meaning behind it because of Clone Wars. And I think if you take that out, it's Force Awakens. If I can like have that love and like all that character growth of Anakin and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka from Clone Wars and think of Revenge of the Sith with that, then I would choose Revenge of the Sith. But like we did before, if we're strictly evaluating the movie as it stands, I think you're right that Force Awakens is its own self-contained thing. Doesn't rely on anything else to make it better. Where Revenge of the Sith has Clone Wars and nostalgia elevating it.
Totally. I mean, like, when I watch Revenge of the Sith now, I think of like, oh, like Ahsoka was on Mandalore this whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so like, it's not fair. It's not fair to put that, because that affects my thinking of Revenge of the Sith for sure. So, all right. So The Force Awakens takes that match over Revenge of the Sith. Moving on, we have the number 2 seed, The Last Jedi, against the number 7 seed, Solo, A Star Wars Story. All right.
Listen, I love Solo, but let's not fuck around.
Yeah, man. The Last Jedi, I've come around to it, Christian.
Hell yeah, you have, Mike. I knew this day would come.
Long time listeners of this podcast will know that I hated The Last Jedi,
Yeah.
episode 1 of Jedi Knights.
Yeah.
But now that we're on episode 74, I'm feeling, and now that I've gone through 74 plus hours of Christian talking about how much he loves The Last Jedi, I think he's finally brainwashed me. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think that's a credit to The Last Jedi, right? Like when we did our review episode, when I pulled out my binder, I was like, I got receipts for Empire Strikes Back. People hated it, and then time went on, and it became the best one. The same thing's happening, Mike. The Last Jedi. I haven't watched it in a bit. I should rewatch it soon. It just ages so incredibly well.
It does.
Like it. Oh my god. Yeah, go ahead.
It is, in retrospect, one of the better of the sequel movies, if not the best one. And there's so much to be said. It's just like so visually appealing. Like every time I watch that movie, I just get so swept away by the fact that like how beautiful it is, just on a cinematography level. Like the directing is just like amazing. The writing's kind of like silly, but like it's a Star Wars movie. But yeah, it's just timeless, and the controversy that it created is so Star Wars-esque because we know that the best Star Wars movies, like you said, in time, like the ones that have the most controversy when they come out in time, become the ones that are most beloved. So
yeah. Also, it made Luke Skywalker like an incredible character. Before he was always the cool guy, it's like, oh, he's the hero, but he's like a genuinely very interesting character now. And I think he will be like it's weird. I think the way Darth Vader is an iconic like villain, right? I don't know if I ever would have said that Luke Skywalker is like people will say like Darth Vader's like the best movie villain of all time, right? I don't know if I ever would have said Luke Skywalker is the best movie hero of all time, but I do think that like given that added like depth of The Last Jedi, really like I still don't know if I'd say he's the best hero in a movie of all time, but he's absolutely the most interesting, layered, rich character in any fun movie like this.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Just like people had a problem with Ryan Johnson, doing that to Luke Skywalker's character, like having him sort of like reflect on like his wrongs and everything. But it just, like you said, makes him into a stronger character. And I think we should also talk about Solo: A Star Wars Story because we both love that movie. Nothing against this film, but putting it up against The Last Jedi, that, like you said, sort of brings a new depth to like a super famous character, Luke Skywalker, and just doing a lot for Star Wars in general. I think it's an obvious choice.
Yeah, and listen, The Last Jedi is not perfect, right? I wish
No.
Like I personally like sort of what we did with Finn, but I don't like where it got us with Finn in episode 9. I like Rose. I think she's interesting.
Me too.
Where there's this cast of characters and she is like the embodiment of rebellion. Like I think there's a lot of like very interesting themes that The Last Jedi has that a lot of these movies don't. And it has something to say that I really, really love that about it. So yes, Solo's great. Loved watching Solo. All Ehrenreich makes Solo 2 happen, of course, but like Last Jedi.
Yeah, it's hard to put them together. So, All right, moving on to this next matchup, the number 3 seed, The Empire Strikes Back, versus the number 11 seed, The Phantom Menace. And yeah, I think my position on this is probably pretty clear.
Yeah, Phantom Menace is a fun movie. I like that, but Empire is Empire,
Yeah, I think we have to choose Empire. Enough said. I mean, Phantom Menace is like, I love Phantom Menace and everything, but yeah, the Empire Strikes Back is just like such a classic movie.
Agreed.
It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, so moving on to the semifinal rounds. First matchup, we have the number 8 seed, Return of the Jedi, versus the number 4 seed, The Force Awakens.
This is hard.
This is pretty hard.
Now, Tell me if you disagree with this. I love
Mhm.
Return of the Jedi. It has incredible moments. When I think of that movie, I kind of get tired sometimes because I feel like it moves kind of slow, right? Like the
Yeah.
first like 40 minutes is the sail barge, right? It's like that movie feel, and then we have to like deal with like getting trapped by the Ewoks and then just like talking with them for like
Yeah.
I think the weakest part of Return of the Jedi is its pace. And again, we all know
Mhm.
how both of us feel about Force Awakens and its pace. That being said, Return of the Jedi has my favorite moment in all of Star Wars, Luke versus Vader. But like, what are you thinking right now? Where's your head at with these?
Like I feel like all the things that I really love about Return of the Jedi are only something that is just realized in Return of the Jedi, but propped up by other movies that do it better. You know what I mean? Like Luke's sort of struggle with the dark side, I feel like is set up and explored better in like The Empire Strikes Back. That it gives it a little bit more weight in Return of the Jedi. And so when I think of Return of the Jedi, I think of like all these really dramatic moments, right? But I also think about like how much of that is actually due to Return of the Jedi. Not to say that like I don't love this movie, I really do, but I think you have a point about like sort of the silliness of this movie that maybe wasn't didn't exist with the original Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, that sort of makes it a bit like it makes it shines a bit less in my eyes, I guess. Whereas The Force Awakens, I feel like it's just as a compact whole movie is just really solid. That's my thought process on it all. What am I making any sense here?
No, I think I agree with everything you're saying. All that in mind, I do prefer Return of the Jedi
Me
over
too.
Force
Yeah.
Awakens. Just because I do think it. Well, that's the thing, because like I've said twice already that Return of the Jedi feels like Star Wars, right? Like the music, the colors, the adventure, the story we're going on, like all of that feels like Star Wars, but I think Force Awakens hits those things as well. Like Force Awakens feels
Yeah.
like Star Wars, and that was the best thing about it, right? It's like, oh, it finally feels like we're back in Star Wars. Um,
Yeah. Totally.
this is a tricky one. I really don't know what to do here. Are you leaning
I
one way?
I I really love Return of the Jedi, but I think I really love Return of the Jedi just for a few specific moments. I think I love The Force Awakens overall way more. I think it's just solid from start to finish. It doesn't have like the downtime
Mm-hmm.
and the down bits that like Return of the Jedi does. And like Return of the Jedi, I think I would prefer watching that movie over The Force Awakens as like a hardcore Star Wars fan. But I do think The Force Awakens just might be like the better movie of the two. Um,
Yeah,
it had a really hard thing to do by starting off a brand new franchise, and I think it did it really well. And I think we also need to take that into account because that's just like really impressive. Like you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. It's really hard. They both are great movies, but I think maybe The Force Awakens is what I would choose.
It's real. I think this, and at the end, this might be the hardest one for me to pick
Yeah,
between, because like
yeah.
Return of the Jedi is so good.
It's so good.
Like even as much as I love Empire, I think Return of the Jedi hits what I think of when I think of Star Wars more. Because like Return of the Jedi, or sorry, Empire is like very self serious. Uh, there's not a lot of like Star Warsiness to it. It's just a very interesting dramatic story in space. Like Return of the Jedi has that camp, and it has that fun aspect of Star
Hmm.
Wars that I think Empire lacks in places. So like when I think of Star Wars and when I hear the amazing tracks in my mind and like think of the set pieces, I think of like Luke Skywalker kicking people off the sail barge and like uh the Death Star is exploding and fighting Vader and like throwing his lightsaber away, like all that stuff, and like the Emperor, like oh, it's so hard. Like Return of the Jedi, I think is the most capital Star Wars of the original
Yeah,
trilogy.
yeah.
And Force Awakens, I think, is sort of that for its trilogy as well. So at that point, you just have to,
It's really hard, man. I could go either way on this, to
yeah,
be honest.
because
I don't know.
here, go with me here. Force Awakens is a better movie.
Yeah,
Like, I think we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, I care more about the things going on, but it does have all those issues of pace and stuff like that. Like, that aren't killer, but drags it down a bit, where I want Return of the Jedi to go on, but I feel like it's not what's gonna go on. You know? I don't know.
I mean, I would be fine like deferring to you on this one, Christian. If it like because it's really hard for me to pick.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you deferred to me on one. I'm just gonna defer to you on this one.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. Shit. All
right.
Listen, I'm
is
leaning.
Is it unfair to just defer the semifinal pick onto you, Christian?
Yes, it's unfair.
Okay.
It's a lot of pressure, because like
a lot of pressure. Yeah.
Like, it's Return of the Jedi, dude. Like, it's Vader and Luke and everybody and the culmination. But like, Force Awakens just
it hits so hard.
Yeah. I think it's Force Awakens, Mike.
I think it's Force Awakens, Christian.
That hurt.
It really did. I think it's Force Awakens, man. I do think it is. I think it's the right choice.
Just do it. Okay, there it is.
I think it's the right choice.
I'm sorry. But there we go.
All right. Moving on to the next semifinal round. The number 2 seed, The Last Jedi, versus the number 3 seed, The Empire Strikes Back.
Mike, I know your choice, but again, this is very hard for me.
Yeah. This one is really easy for me.
I know. And I know I can't convince you.
Hard for Christian. That's the thing. You really can't convince me, Christian. But like, walk me through what you're thinking.
So, like, clearly, The Empire Strikes Back. It's the favorite for a reason. It's the most impressive out of that original series. But I do think it does lack in certain areas. That is that capital Star Wars, that I was just talking about with Return of the Jedi. So I think in terms of being a quality film, yeah, it's amazing, right? So is The Last Jedi, I think. But I do think The Last Jedi has some peppered in moments that are more capital Star Wars, right? Like, I think there is some of that here that is, like, maybe making it harder for me, but like, Empire does have some moments like that, right? Like, everything with Luke and Yoda, the X-Wing, I'm Your Father, something else, I'm sure, Hoth, right? But like, Last Jedi has like the throne room scene, which I think is like one of the best scenes in Star Wars. Like, it has, again, another one that I think might be one of the best. It has Luke and Yoda, the Force Ghost. It has Luke showing up at the end. Like, all that stuff is like fitting into that epic, sweeping, emotional stuff that I think Empire is much more reserved in, which is good for Empire. But in terms of Star Wars, right, like, screaming that out, I think Last Jedi has an edge there. But I don't know if that's enough of an edge.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're gonna come to an agreement on this, because if it were up to you, Christian, like, which one would you choose?
I mean,
like if it were just like purely up to you, like
I think,
because I feel I don't know, because like I feel like we're not going to come to an agreement. My obvious choice would be The Empire Strikes Back. Like,
yeah,
but you were talking very highly of The Last Jedi. Like, I just don't think on principle, like, from my perspective, that like you can rank you could that The Last Jedi beats The Empire Strikes Back in any scenario. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. You have like good points.
Yeah, I think with the way that we've been evaluating all of these, I think that Last Jedi has an edge in a few ways that could, if I fully believed it, make it move on. over Empire, based on like, you know, the feelings, the emotions, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything bad about Empire, and I don't think there's anything bad about The Last Jedi. I think there's some dumb stuff, but I can't think of
There's some
much.
dumb stuff in Empire too.
Like, what comes to mind when you think of dumb stuff in Empire? Because I'm trying to think.
Like, what's up with like the worm in the asteroid? Like that's some dumb stuff. Like
Yeah,
we never see that again.
Leia
And
kissing
like
Luke.
Leia kissing Luke, all the like creatures in Dagobah, like there's some dumb stuff in that movie.
Sure, but like, and listen, I like Canto Bite, but like, DJ is in there a little too
Yeah,
long, you know. So like,
right.
there are some things that I think could weaken The Last Jedi for the edges it does have, I think, in this competition. But I think if it were up to me, I would still choose Empire, even though I could convince myself to pick Last Jedi, I think.
There's part of me that like I'm thinking, am I too hard on the Last Jedi myself? You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't want to like co-opt this and just be like, yeah, no, like it's just gonna be Empire Strikes Back, just like full on. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I just truly think that out of these two movies, like The Empire Strikes Back to me is just the better film. But I hear what you're saying with The Last Jedi because I've come around to it. I know what you're talking about.
Hmm. Like,
So should we just like I don't know I don't know what to do.
no, I think we can do The Empire Strikes Back, because it's still I still view that as my favorite Star Wars movie, but I'm I haven't seen both of those. I think the last time I saw them was when we did it for the show. So in the near future, I think I might take like a Saturday and a Sunday and watch Empire Saturday and Last Jedi on Sunday and really decide if I think one's better than the other.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea actually.
Yeah, because I've never watched them like close to each other. I've always just watched them in order. So seeing them like straight up
Yeah.
next to each other, I maybe I have a new favorite. We'll see. But look at that
All
final
right,
round.
so why don't we move on? Yeah, why don't we move on to the bronze match actually? Got to figure out who goes number 3.
Yes.
Uh so we have the number 8 seed Return of the Jedi against the number 2 seed The Last Jedi. The two rejects from the semifinal round, so that we had a hard time with.
Uh,
Oh god.
I don't know. This is surprisingly hard. Also.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man, because like these top four are so good. Like these four are my top four. I think.
Yeah, this is a really hard one. Um, I mean, like when we get to the semifinal round, like all of these movies, like honestly, most of these movies from round one are great.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to compare them in this way,
Where are you leaning?
but we're doing it anyway.
Hmm.
Um, honestly, I'm kind of thinking that like Return of the Jedi has like a lot of the drama that we were talking about earlier,
Hmm.
but like so does Last Jedi, but like in different ways. And I think if I'm talking about like movies that are like more like visually appealing, definitely The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe The Last Jedi, but I don't know.
Yeah, like as much as I love the throne room scene in Return of the Jedi, I also love the throne room scene in The Last Jedi, and everything with Luke in both of them I really love. But I think Luke in Last Jedi elevates that character, where Return of the Jedi just you feel good about rooting for Luke the whole time. Um,
Yeah,
and it's my second favorite. Like as much as I think Return of the Jedi out of all of these maybe has the most Star Wars vibes, I think I'd probably give it to Last Jedi here personally.
yeah. I think The Last Jedi for sure.
So we have our bronze.
Yeah. So for the number 1 spot, the gold medal, we have the number 4 seed, The Force Awakens, versus the number 3 seed, The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. Is it an easy choice for you here?
I mean, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I think to put it out there, I do think that The Force Awakens has more Star Wars vibes, you know, because it does feel like it's a theme park ride, but it works and it's really cool about that, you know. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it still hits those emotional Star Wars moments really well. There's a lot of drama there. There's everything with Han and Ben. Like, I think The Force Awakens is really great and might be, if you like squeeze out the Star Wars-ness of all these movies, Force Awakens and Return of the Jedi I think might have the most there, and Empire and Last Jedi are just the best movies.
mm-hmm.
But I think this is an instance of what do you value more here? Is it the quality of the movie or just the Star Warsiness of it? But I like Empire is still my favorite. Haven't changed that. So like Empire, I would probably have move on here, but I think, like I asked you before, like, are you putting more stock in the feelings of Star Wars or the quality? Like, I think that's probably what this deciding factor is.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both really great movies. I think maybe we should have been a bit clearer at the beginning, like what our criteria were. But I just think, like, personally, I just think Empire Strikes Back is just a good movie,
Yeah.
better movie than The Force Awakens.
No, I agree.
And for that reason, I think I would place it above.
Yeah, I think it's Empire. It's, again, similar to Palpatine winning last week. It's like the boring choice, but it's the choice for a reason, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's the best movie. There's really no holes in it. It still has really great moments for the series as a whole. Everything with Luke and Yoda is amazing. I'm your father, but like, Force Awakens just makes me happy, I think.
yeah, and I hate to be boring and say that like the Empire Strikes Back wins over The Force Awakens because I really like The Force Awakens too, but I just think that it's just the choice, you know.
Sometimes the Patriots just win, Mike.
Sometimes the Patriots just win, but not anymore, Christian.
No, not
Um,
anymore.
all right, so that sort of ends it here. We're gonna end the tournament for our Star Wars movie ranking. Again, this was a pleasure,
Of
Christian.
course. I love this. This is so much fun.
Yeah, so we have coming in third place, The Last Jedi, well deserved. Coming in second place, The Force Awakens, also well deserved. And coming in first, The Empire Strikes Back, of course. I'm surprised that we have two of the sequel trilogy here.
Hell yeah, Mike.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Quality
But,
films right there.
Yeah, I mean, I like, if you were to tell me this, like when we first started filming Jedi Knights, that in 2021 we'd be doing a ranking, and I would agree that The Last Jedi should be number 3. I would probably like do a spit take or something like that.
Yeah. But I think similar to the past few of these, you look at those top 3, you're not mad, right?
Oh, definitely not. No, I think that this is actually a very fair way of like figuring out which ones are Apex Star Wars. So yeah, it was a pleasure, Christian. It was fun.
Of course. I love doing this with you, Mike. And a big heavy shout out to Return of the Jedi. Making it pretty far.
Big heavy shout out. Yeah.
But yeah, like I know people hate on the sequels a lot, and we certainly have our issues with them, but in the context of everything, and I think with the way the matchups worked, I really think there's a world where Force Awakens and Last Jedi were in that top, at least top 4, no matter what they were up against, truly.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only thing that could have maybe stopped them was Revenge of the Sith, and Force Awakens overtook Revenge of the Sith. So, like, that's just how it worked out. I don't think anything else could have stopped them.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, I think we were pretty fair with how we were doing this, and I'm happy with the way it ended up.
Agreed. So, let us know what you think of that top 3, everybody, because, oh boy, I'm sure there's going to be people that don't like that. But,
no, yeah, but who cares?
Hell yeah. Good ranking. So, we got one more of these, right? Next week, end of March Madness.
That's right. Just one more of them. I forget which one did we say we were going to do?
I think we settled on, like, side characters. Whatever you want that to mean is what it means.
Well, if anybody has any ideas, post in the comments or something for side characters.
Yeah, you could go as deep as Max Rebo, or you could go as obvious as Poe Dameron. There you go. See what's up.
There you go.
But yeah, Mike, thank you as always. It's incredibly fun doing this. Where can the listeners find you?
Always, as always, on Twitter at Mike P. Connors.
Very nice. You can check out my stuff on Twitch, TikTok, Twitter at Chun2D2, as well as here, youtube.com/joyclicks for the video version of this podcast, alongside the video versions of all of our podcasts. And by the time this episode's out, you're going to be able to see the Hall of Game officially this week, Thursday. Will we bring a Star Wars game? Maybe. We're going to see what gets into the Video Game Hall of Fame. But
excited.
Hell yeah. If you like this type of discussion, then maybe check that out. But if you want this podcast in podcast format, audio version, you can check it out on your favorite service of choice, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you got. If you can rate a review on that platform, it would be greatly appreciated because it does help us out a lot. And a 5-star review will just take a second if you enjoyed the episode. So I'll post the template for the bracket like we have been doing on our Twitter, Jedi Knights JC. And if you want to get involved further in supporting the shows, you can go to patreon.com/joyclicks. The $1 and $5 tiers. $5 tier gets you producer credit on all of our podcasts, like Chris Akas and Aaron Easton. So thank you very much. And that's gonna do it for the penultimate tournament for Star Wars March Madness.
March Madness. We have to come up with some sort of Star Wars themed March Madness name for this for next week. That'll be my homework. I'll do that.
Okay, because then next March we return with the official branding. We'll have a nice logo for the new name.
Exactly.
It's gonna be great. So
it's like right at the end of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and Santa shows up, and you're like, oh, Christmas is almost here.
Yeah.
That's gonna be it's gonna be like that next week. It'd be teasing for next year. You know
exactly. What I mean? Another great month of March Madness in Star Wars. But until then, we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
May the Force be with you.
Oh, yes, you're right. Beep is up.